Being a cop in a small Minnesota town of about 10,000 isn't exactly what you see in the movies. It's not glamorous. 99% of the calls are routine. Bar fights spill out into the street. Kids drinking at the grain silo, or domestics that usually end quietly. You get used to the quiet. You start to rely on it. But over a 20-year career, the quiet gets broken by things that don't make sense. Things that don't make it into the official reports because, well, how do you type up a report when the suspect defies the laws of physics? 7 years ago, the first crack in my reality appeared. Her name was Eileen Garrity. She was a widow living alone in a decaying farmhouse out on County Road 9. After her husband, Bill, passed, she called us constantly. Raccoons, lights in the fields. We pitted her. Then came the burglary call. My partner and I arrived to find the front door ajar. Inside, the house smelled of mildew and old copper pennies. Every mirror was shattered. Eileen stood in the living room, clutching a crucifix,
Unit 4,
refusing
Eileen
to turn around.
1427,
She
County
told
Road
us
9
something
again.
was in the closet, something that scratched at the door, something that sounded exactly like her dead husband, Bill, begging to be let in, but she said the rhythm was off, like a warped record. She showed us the bedroom closet, boarded up, a shotgun hole blasted through the center. She swore that when she fired, red eyes glowed back through the smoke and laughed. We took her to the Pine Rest Motel for safety. We locked her in. At 4:07 a.m., we got the call. Screaming, we kicked down the motel door. It was still locked from the inside. The room was painted in blood, walls, ceiling, fan. But no body, just 10 bloody fingernail trails dragging from the bed into the open closet. And the closet? Empty. Eileen was just gone. I thought that was the worst of it. I was wrong. 2 winters later, I got a call to the Hanson residence. A noise complaint from a neighbor. The Hansons were a normal family. Mom, dad, 2 kids, golden retriever. I knocked. No answer. The front door was unlocked. The TV was blaring static. I walked in, hand on my holster. I found them in the living room. All 4 of them. They were sitting on the couch, side by side, staring at the blank TV screen. They were perfectly still. No blinking. No breathing shallowly. Just statues. I waved my hand in front of the father's face. Nothing. His pupils were blown wide. Black saucers swallowing the blue. The dog was in the corner, whimpering, facing the wall. I reached for my radio to call paramedics, thinking carbon monoxide poisoning. That's when the landline phone on the kitchen wall rang. In perfect unison, all 4 heads snapped toward the kitchen. Snap! Too fast. Like machines. I stared at them, terrified. The phone kept ringing. I walked into the kitchen and picked it up, watching them through the doorway. Sheriff's Department. I said. A voice on the other line whispered, frantic, terrified. It was a father, the same man I was looking at on the couch. Officer, is that you? We're hiding in the basement. We heard glass break upstairs. We heard footsteps, but nobody came down. Officer, please. I think something is wearing our clothes. I dropped the phone. When I looked back at the couch, the living room was empty. The cushions were uncompressed. The TV was off. I got the real family out of the basement. They were fine. But to this day, the father swears he never owns a gray sweater. The thing on the couch was wearing one. Then there are the calls that come from places that shouldn't exist. Last year, dispatch patched through a 911 call. Heavy static. A woman's voice, crying, saying she was trapped in the dark. She couldn't move her arms. The air was running out. We traced the GPS signal of the cell phone. It led us to the Cedar Hill Cemetery. Specifically, it led us to a plot in the old section, a grave dug 3 days prior. We thought, sick joke, buried alive? We got a court order and an excavator within the hour. We dug up the coffin. We pried the lid off, expecting to find a woman gasping for air with a cell phone in her hand. We found the woman. She had been dead for 3 days, embalmed, cold as ice. Her hands were folded over her chest. There was no cell phone in the coffin, but while we stood there, staring at the corpse, the dispatcher's voice crackled over my radio. Unit 1, I have the caller on the line again. She says, She says she can hear you digging. She says you're letting the light in. She's asking why you look so scared. I looked down at the dead woman's face. Her mouth was sewn shut, but I swear the corners of her lips twitched upward. And then there's the radio. You spend enough nights in a cruiser, you hear voices in the static. Most of us just turn the squelch up, but last winter, during the worst blizzard in a decade, I was patrolling near the old iron bridge. My radio clicked. Unit 1, this is Unit 4. I've got a 10 to 50 off the embankment. Unit 4 was Jerry Halloway. Jerry drove his cruiser off that bridge in 1998. They never found the body, just a car crushed in the ice. I grabbed the mic, thinking it was a prank. Unit 4, identify. The voice came back clear, but it wasn't Jerry's voice anymore. It was wet, gargling. Unit 1, why didn't you look for me? It's so cold down here. Then the static cleared, and I heard breathing right behind my ear. Inside my own locked patrol car, I slammed on the brakes, spun around. The back seat was empty, but the seat cushion, it was wet, soaking wet with icy river water. And on the foggy rear window, written from the inside, was one word: soon. I don't drive near the iron bridge anymore, not after dark. Farmers out on Route 9 tell us similar stories. They say sometimes in October, they count 12 scarecrows in a field where they only put 10. And when they go to check on the extras are wearing police uniforms. Old ones, with badge numbers of deputies who went missing in the 70s. We don't investigate those calls. We just tell them to burn the field. And of course, there was Shirley and McDougal. 3 years ago, a stormy night, a woman walks into the station barefoot, soaked, wearing a 1950s polka dot dress. She tells me she was kidnapped after a movie at the Mayan Theater, a theater that closed 40 years ago. She says she escaped the trunk of a green 1953 Buick after it crashed into Miller's Lake. I checked the cold case files. Shirley and McDougal vanished August 14, 1956. The woman in my lobby was a perfect match. Una Ged. We dragged the lake. We found the Buick. We found the skeleton of a woman in the trunk. And the woman who walked into my station? She vanished from the hospital room with no exit. I don't know how these things connect. The mimics in the closets, the doubles on the couch, the calls from the grave, the ghost of the lake, the wet seat in my patrol car. I don't know if it's one thing, or if the world is just much thinner than we think. I only know 2 things for sure. Every night, I check every closet in my house. I open the door, shine the light, and check the corners. And if I ever hear a knock from the other side, soft, patient, familiar, I never open it, because sometimes something knocks back, and the voice might sound like someone you loved, but it's just waiting for an invitation.